Do you know the average person spends about 1/3 of their waking hours worrying about what others think? If you're tired of being weighed down by outside opinions, this video is for you. Today, we're diving deep into Neville Goddard's powerful technique of shifting your attention inward and releasing attachments that no longer serve you. By focusing on yourself and practicing his timeless principle, you can free yourself from the burden of external expectations and discover your true creative power. Whether you're new to the concept or looking to refine your manifestation skills, this is your golden ticket to becoming the best version of you. So get ready to transform from within. Stick with us until the very end, because we'll reveal the hidden keys to embracing self-trust, harnessing your imagination, and creating a life aligned with your deepest desires. Your journey toward real freedom and fulfillment starts right now. Sure. Let's dive into the idea of shifting attention from others to your own inner state, a concept that Neville Goddard often emphasizes when he talks about self-realization and manifesting your desires. At first glance, this might sound a little abstract, but when you break it down, it's actually a game changer in how we navigate our relationships with the world around us. The thing is, we're all so caught up in the external, what others think of us, what they're doing, how they're reacting. But Neville argues that when we focus on those things, we're handing away our power. Instead of taking charge of our inner state, we're letting the world dictate how we feel. Think about it. How often do we catch ourselves being influenced by someone's mood, opinion, or even just their presence? It's like we're constantly tuning into other people's frequencies, and in doing so, we lose track of our own. Now, shifting your attention to your own inner state isn't about ignoring the world around you. It's about recognizing that the only thing you can control is how you react to it. It's not the situations or people that define your emotional experience, it's how you choose to process them internally. So, instead of reacting automatically when someone triggers you, take a moment to check in with yourself. Ask, what's going on inside me right now? This is the first step to understanding that you can't control others, but you can absolutely control how you respond to them. One of the beautiful things Neville points out is that when you begin to turn inward, you start realizing just how much power you have over your own feelings. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions, they all shape your reality. It's like your internal world is a reflection of what's happening outside. The more you shift your focus back to your own thoughts and emotions, the more you realize how much of your life has been colored by what you thought you couldn't control. The more you stop giving energy to external forces, the more clarity you gain in directing that energy toward your own growth. Now, here's where things get interesting. As you begin to give less weight to what others are doing or thinking, something unexpected happens. You start to create a kind of magnetic force within yourself. Your confidence grows. You find your own sense of peace, no matter what chaos is swirling around you. And when you cultivate that inner strength, you stop needing validation from the outside world. It's like you've built an internal fortress that shields you from the ups and downs that used to throw you off course. And let's not forget how important this is when it comes to manifesting your desires. If you're constantly preoccupied with what other people think, you're constantly creating resistance in your mind. It's almost like you're allowing other people's limitations to become yours. But when you shift the focus to your inner state, you start trusting your own process. You stop worrying about how others see you or whether they approve of your goals. In doing so, you create a space for those desires to manifest with ease because there's no longer any external noise clouding your vision. It's like learning to listen to the voice inside you that knows exactly what you need and when you need it. And that's powerful. When you make a habit of turning inward, you start aligning with your highest self, the one that knows exactly how to navigate life without being swayed by every passing breeze. In a way, shifting your focus to your inner state isn't just about feeling good in the moment, it's about creating a solid foundation for the life you want to build. It's about tuning into your own energy and understanding that you are the one who sets the tone. You're the one who decides how you show up, how you feel, and what you're willing to create. And the more you practice this, the more it becomes second nature. So, take a step back, start turning inward, and watch as the world around you shifts to match the peace and power you've cultivated within. Let's talk about releasing the need to control or influence how others respond to us. This is something that sounds so simple at first, but it can be a massive challenge for so many of us. We're wired to want control. It's in our nature to want things to unfold the way we expect them to. But the truth is, holding on to that control when it comes to other people and their reactions can weigh us down in ways we don't always realize. You see, when we focus on trying to control others, we're giving away our energy. Instead of directing it toward our own growth, our own journey, we're obsessing over how someone might react, or how they should react, based on our desires. It's a subtle trap, really. The moment we start to rely on their response to feel validated or at peace, we've unknowingly tied our emotional state to something external. But here's where it gets interesting. When we let go of that need to control, it's like we unlock a part of ourselves that was previously shackled. There's a kind of freedom in not having to manage or manipulate the responses of others. Imagine how much lighter you'd feel if you could simply be yourself, express your thoughts, and not worry about whether someone else approves, disapproves, or reacts in any particular way. Now, I'm not saying we should be indifferent to people or their feelings. It's about understanding that you can't force a particular outcome or response. People will respond the way they are meant to, based on their own experiences, emotions, and perceptions. And trying to shape those responses is a bit like trying to steer the wind. You might think you have control for a moment, but ultimately, the wind has its own path. The same goes for people and their reactions. You can't control them. Instead, the more you focus on yourself, the more you start to realize that their reactions don't define you. You start to build your sense of self-worth from within, rather than constantly looking outside for validation. And guess what? When you do this, something incredible happens. Without trying to manipulate or influence someone's response, you actually start to create healthier, more authentic connections. Why? Because you're not coming from a place of need or control. You're just showing up as yourself, with no strings attached. This doesn't mean you won't ever care about someone's feelings or that you won't ever hope for certain outcomes. Of course, we all do. But it's about releasing the tight grip, the desperation, that says, if they don't respond this way, then I'm not okay. Because that's the real issue. We've attached so much weight to their reaction that we've forgotten how to be okay without it. The beauty of letting go is that it invites true freedom. And when you're free from the need to control others, you open the door to a much richer, deeper relationship with yourself. It's like being able to stand tall and say, I am okay, no matter what you think or how you respond. It doesn't matter if they agree with you or understand you. What matters is that you understand and trust yourself enough to release the need for approval. When we stop trying to control, we also make room for the unexpected, for life to unfold in its own unique way. And sometimes, those unexpected outcomes are far better than anything we could have planned for ourselves. So, release that need. Let others respond however they will, and watch how your world transforms when you shift the focus back to where it belongs, on you. When Neville Goddard talks about assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, he's really asking you to step into the emotional state of your desired outcome as if it's already happening. It's not just about visualizing success or imagining your dream coming true, it's about living it, emotionally, mentally, and even physically, right here and now. The moment you align yourself with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, that's when the magic starts to unfold. But here's the thing, it's not always as simple as it sounds. It's not just about thinking positive thoughts or repeating affirmations mindlessly. It's about embodying that feeling so deeply that it becomes second nature. Think about it like this: if you truly felt that sense of accomplishment, happiness, or peace, would you still worry? Would you still feel unsure or anxious? No. you'd move through life with a different energy. A calm assurance. That's what Neville means. It's about genuinely becoming that person who already has what they want. Now, this doesn't mean you're pretending or faking it. It's more like you're reconnecting with an innate truth inside yourself. The feeling of your wish fulfilled isn't something new you need to create. It's already within you, just waiting to be acknowledged and brought to the forefront. Once you tap into that feeling, it shifts the entire vibration of your existence. But here's where it gets interesting. It's not enough to just feel the feeling once and call it done. This is something you need to practice consistently. Every time you feel doubt creeping in or the reality around you doesn't reflect your desires, you choose to reconnect with that inner state of fulfillment. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets. And eventually, it becomes easier to slip into that state without even thinking about it. You'll start to notice shifts around you, but not just in your external world, inside, too. Your mindset, your beliefs, your assumptions, they'll begin to change because you're no longer focused on the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Instead, you're fully present in the idea that you've already arrived. You're not waiting for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, or some external sign. You're living in the state of being someone who already has everything they desire. The beauty of this approach is that it's not about forcing things or controlling the outcome. You're simply allowing yourself to be in alignment with what's already coming to you. You're trusting that the world will reflect back to you the energy you're putting out. If you're embodying a sense of already having it, then life will start to mirror that back to you. It's a natural law, almost like a cosmic feedback loop. At times, you might doubt the process. That's normal. Our minds are conditioned to question the unseen. But this is where your commitment to consistently assume that feeling is key. You're not letting the world outside of you dictate how you feel inside. You're creating a sense of fulfillment within regardless of external circumstances. In doing so, you've essentially taken control of your reality. The funny part? The more you focus on yourself, on nurturing that inner feeling, the less you need to worry about others or how they might be reacting to your desires. You're not looking for validation or approval. You're not depending on anyone else to make you feel worthy. This, in turn, allows you to let them go, the people, situations, and things that once held your attention or made you feel like you needed them to feel complete. Ultimately, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled is a path of inner freedom. It's a subtle but profound shift in how you approach your life. You stop chasing after something, and you start embodying the version of yourself who already has it. And once you step into that, the universe has no choice but to catch up. Alright, let's unpack this concept of understanding that external conditions mirror your self-concept, because it's at the very heart of Neville Goddard's teachings. It's a bit of a revelation when you really grasp it. What's happening outside of you, in the world and with other people, is often just a reflection of how you see yourself internally. Sounds strange at first, doesn't it? But when you dive deeper, it makes complete sense. The first thing to realize is that your self-concept, the way you view yourself, your worth, your capabilities, acts as a filter through which you experience the world. It's like looking through a pair of glasses with a certain tint. If you believe deep down that you're not worthy of success, that you're not deserving of love, or that life is hard, then that's exactly what you'll keep encountering. You might not even realize it's happening, but every situation, every interaction, seems to reinforce that belief. It's not just a theory, it's a law. The universe, life, people, circumstances, responds to the energy you put out. And that energy? It's shaped by your thoughts, beliefs, and, ultimately, your self-concept. If you're constantly telling yourself that you're unlucky, that people are out to get you, or that you'll never get what you truly want, those thoughts become your reality. You might think you're just being realistic or cautious, but what you're really doing is telling the universe to give you more of the same. And guess what happens? It delivers. the world around you begins to look exactly like the self-concept you've been carrying around. But, and this is the liberating part, it works the other way around too. If you can begin to shift that inner dialogue, if you can start seeing yourself as deserving, capable, worthy, and successful, the external world will start shifting to match that. It's almost like you're tuning into a new frequency. When you start tuning into a positive self-image, life seems to reflect that back at you in ways you might never have imagined. The people you meet, the opportunities that show up, the way others treat you, it all begins to align with the version of yourself that you hold in your mind. Now, here's where it gets tricky. We tend to focus on the external world to try to change our situation. If things aren't going well in our lives, we often think the solution lies in changing the people around us or altering our circumstances. But what Neville teaches is that the external is just a mirror, and no amount of pushing or manipulating the mirror will change the reflection. You have to go inward. If you want the reflection to change, you've got to change how you see yourself. This isn't about pretending to be something you're not or putting on a false front. It's about digging deep and realizing that who you are on the inside shapes what shows up on the outside. When you truly understand this, it's liberating because you stop looking outside for answers. Instead, you turn inward, and that's where the real power is. You start to realize that you don't have to fight against the world. You simply need to shift your internal state, and as you do, the world will start to reflect that shift back at you. And let's not forget the deeper truth here, your self-concept isn't fixed. It's fluid. You can always change how you see yourself. This means that no matter where you are in life, no matter what's happening around you, you have the ability to redefine who you are and what you're capable of. That's the magic. When you start seeing yourself as someone who attracts abundance, someone who is deserving of the best life has to offer, you'll start to notice opportunities, people, and circumstances that reflect that new self-image. Of course, it takes time and practice. Your old beliefs might have been ingrained for years, and shifting them won't happen overnight. But every small change you make in how you view yourself chips away at that old self-concept and paves the way for something new. Over time, this shift will become so natural that the reflection in the mirror, the world around you, will seem to shift effortlessly. So, in essence, when you realize that external conditions are just a mirror of your self-concept, you gain the ultimate control over your reality. You stop waiting for life to change, and instead, you begin changing from within. And the world, in turn, can't help but reflect your transformation back at you. When Neville Goddard talks about letting them go, he's not just suggesting that you forget about people or cut ties with the world around you. It's much deeper than that. It's about releasing the hold that others have on your energy, thoughts, and emotions. And when you do this, something incredible happens. You remove resistance. You clear out the noise, the distractions, and the blocks that were keeping you from stepping fully into your desired reality. Think of it this way, when we're holding on to others, whether it's their expectations, their opinions, or the need for them to be a certain way, we're essentially resisting the flow of life. We're attaching ourselves to a narrative that doesn't serve us. This attachment creates tension, like trying to walk forward while pulling a weight behind you. It's exhausting. Every time you're trying to manipulate someone's response, control their actions, or shape their beliefs, you're tying yourself to something that isn't truly yours to control. And that creates resistance. Now, resistance is sneaky. It doesn't always show up in obvious ways. It can look like anxiety, frustration, or even confusion. It can manifest as a feeling that no matter how hard you try, things just aren't lining up the way you want them to. The more we hold on to the idea that others need to change, respond, or be a certain way for us to feel fulfilled, the more we feed into that resistance. It's like we're constantly pushing against a door that we've locked ourselves into. We're trapped in a cycle of trying to force things to happen. But what happens when you let go? When you stop trying to control how others act, how they feel, or how they're supposed to show up in your life, you create space. You make room for your true desires to manifest. You're no longer focused on what they think or whether they agree with you. Instead, you turn that energy inward. You start to align with your own vision, your own desires, and most importantly, your own peace. By letting go of the need to control others, you stop resisting life. And when you stop resisting life, you stop blocking the flow of your own manifestations. It's like opening the windows to let fresh air into a room that's been stuffy for far too long. When you release that grip, you stop constricting the energy that wants to flow to you. And when that energy flows, it creates the space for your reality to shift. The reality that you desire is no longer obstructed by the walls you've built in your mind around other people. The beauty of this is that you start to feel lighter, freer, more at ease. You're no longer walking around with a weight of expectation and worry about how others are going to react. You stop holding your breath, waiting for their validation or approval. The moment you stop needing their response, you give yourself permission to fully step into your own vision of reality. You remove all the barriers that have been blocking it. And here's the interesting part: when you release that resistance, you might start to notice that things begin to fall into place almost effortlessly. It's as if the universe recognizes that you're no longer fighting against the current, and it starts to carry you to where you need to go. The connections you want, the opportunities you desire, they begin to flow more naturally toward you, without the friction that comes from trying to manipulate or force things into existence. It's about trust, really. Trusting that the right people will show up, that your desires will be fulfilled, and that everything is unfolding as it should. When you stop clinging to the idea of how others should behave, you make room for what you truly want. You stop fighting with life and start flowing with it. And in that space, your reality shifts. What you've been hoping for starts to take form. And it all begins with letting go. In the end, by releasing that resistance, you give yourself the freedom to live as you truly want. Your desired reality isn't something that's locked behind the actions or responses of others. It's something that exists within you, just waiting for you to step into it. So, let go. Stop fighting. Allow your reality to unfold, and watch how the pieces come together. That's a wrap for today, Modern Stoics. Remember, your power lies in focusing on yourself and letting go of anything or anyone that doesn't serve your highest good. When you invest in your own growth, the right people and opportunities will naturally align with your path. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs this message, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights. I'd love to hear how you're shifting your focus, so leave a comment below and share your experience. Keep growing, stay true to yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.